Good evening, folks. Thanks for joining us today on a Wednesday evening, and welcome all of you. My name is Ayush, and I'm one of the founding member of this community called Growth Folks, which is India's largest community of growth enthusiasts. Most of you guys are already a part of Growth Folks community, but the people who have joined us new, just to give you a sense of it, we are trying to build a community of people who are enthusiastic about growth marketing and who are working in the growth domain or aspire to work in the growth domain. More details about the same can be found on our social media and on our website, which is www.growthfolks.in. Now, talking about this session is again one of those growth webinars that I personally am looking forward to it. And for today, we are just going to talk about how to speed up your SEO results. We are going to deep dive into various case studies and see the entire process of speeding up the SEO result. Today, to take the session, we have with us Maeva. I'll just do a small introduction for you and then I'll hand it over to Maeva. So, Maeva was born in California and is half French and half Colombian. She is the CA of Flying Cat Marketing Agency. After spending 10 years working as a professional translator helping brands expand into new markets, she found even more value in providing the content that drives revenue for B2B brands. With a love for tech, startups, and a short term rental industry, Maiva's focus is to empower her team to connect B2B brand to decision makers through SEO driven thought leadership content. Welcome to the session, Maiva. It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you, Ayush, for that wonderful introduction and for inviting me today to speak to the Growth Folks community. I'm so excited to be here today. So, sorry, my cat is here trying to be a part of this presentation. Let me move him.
All right.
I'm really excited to be here today. So, quick intro. Since you already introduced me I will try not to bore you guys too much about me. We do SEO for tech companies, prop tech, travel tech, hospitality tech, and helping them scale SEO rather than go to market. But we do help them spend less money on ad spend so that they can grow organically and build their brands and attract more people for non-branded keywords and branded keywords together. So today I'm going to dive into some case studies for 3 different companies, Canva, HubSpot, and Databox, and talk about what are they doing in SEO, what can we learn from it, and how you guys can apply it to your startups. And then I'll talk more about how you can do it. So before I get into this, I would like to see where you guys are in terms of SEO and what struggles you're facing with SEO right now. So if you could just answer me in the chat about what your biggest struggle with SEO is. For some, it's I've tried, but I haven't seen the value yet, so I'm afraid to invest. Does that resonate with anybody? If you give me just a thumbs up in the chat. Or another one that people have is, I'm not sure what topics to create. Scaling traffic and organic lead volume. Yeah, that's a big one. Some people, their issue is, I get good traffic, but no conversions. Another issue that people have, which Stuti mentioned, we're a small team. How do we scale SEO? Or SEO is taking too long to have an impact. So a few people in the chat here I see have mentioned use Yoast SEO, not sure about the technical aspect of SEO. So we're going to be talking about diving more into beyond using Yoast. Yoast is a tool that can help you input some metadata, but there is a lot more that's involved in building an SEO strategy, right? So SEO, the way that we're going to be covering it here is going to be content-led SEO, okay? So there's a lot that you can do in terms of outreach and link building, and there's a lot that you can do in terms of structuring the technical aspects of your website to make it SEO friendly. But what's most interesting and what we're going to be covering here, which works for small and large companies, is content-led. So let's dive in. So a lot of tech companies today, they're having a lot of these issues. They are spending tens and thousands on paid ads to get those inbound leads. But their competitors are still outbidding them. They're still outranking them. And it's just impossible to compete with the same kind of budget, right? Another thing they're saying is diminishing returns on the ads that they're spending. So the longer that they do it, the more expensive their leads become, the less likely they are to outbid. The audiences become saturated. It just doesn't pay off. You get to a point with paid ads where it doesn't matter if you put more budget into it. You're not going to see any more return, right? Another thing that tech companies see is that they're creating content, but it doesn't rank in the top positions. The majority of content that's published today barely even makes it to the first page. So they're not even getting the traffic from it. They're not ranking. So they're creating content, trying to rank for SEO, and nothing's happening. Another issue is that the content just doesn't drive pipeline. So that's one that we saw before. I'm creating content, but nothing is coming from it. Does this resonate? I have two basic questions. So the questions, Ayush will be gathering these questions and we will be addressing them at the end. So another issue that tech companies are facing is you just don't know what to publish, right? You're spending all of your team's time sitting there trying to figure out what kind of pieces of content to publish. And it's just taking up a lot of creative time, and it's hard to see how to scale that from there. And then again, you're relying too much on non-scalable means. So that means you're relying on outbound, on partnership, non-strategic, word of mouth, or you have your CEO actually planning the content, sitting there trying to have a creative process to figure out what you're going to publish every week with the rest of the team. So this, again, is not a scalable way to do SEO. So what are the companies doing right that are doing SEO right? What are they getting from doing SEO right? So the ones who invest in SEO are getting organic, a parity of lead acquisition through organic and paid. So that means they are not spending all of their money on paid ads, but actually half of their leads are coming from organic or more. And there are some companies who are getting rid of paid entirely. So I don't know, this is not realistic for every brand. Of course, all of the brands that we're covering today, I think they, of course, invest in paid as well. But some brands have gotten rid of paid entirely. If you talk about Airbnb, for example, they just had their IPO, and during COVID, they actually let go of 25% of their marketing staff, and they decided to get rid of their whole performance and marketing ad spend. So now they're doing completely brand and organic. And what turned out was when they let go of that ad spend, is that their traffic didn't go down. They were still getting it all from organic marketing. Of course, that's because they have their brand to thank for that, right? So they pushed a lot in brand, and that helps boost the SEO forward. So people start getting to know your brand. Booking and Expedia, each they forked out like $5 billion each for marketing in 2019, most of which went to Google Ads. But they had no choice to do that because they didn't have a brand. So the customer acquisition was achieved by bidding highly on non-branded terms. And then once they didn't build any customer loyalty through that. So of course, what Airbnb did was focus on organic, focus on brand, and now they don't have to pay ad spend. And now their branded search and direct search is their most important acquisition channels for customers. Another thing that companies see when they invest properly in SEO, when they follow these principles here, is they have shorter sales cycle because their content, their SEO content has been able to help them with buyer enablement. It has nurtured their buyers for them. It shortens the sales cycle because people know about you and they've talked about you long before they start talking to you directly. And finally, they are able to outrank their competitors who have bigger advertising budgets and higher domain authorities. If you do it the way that we're going to cover in this presentation today, they have been able to achieve these things, and you can achieve these things as well with some time investment with your team and consistency. So why is SEO not working for brands who are trying to scale it today? One of the biggest issues that I see is people are trying too hard to rank for keywords that are too broad. They focus a lot on high volume keywords. So they say, okay, this keyword is getting 10,000 searches per month. I want to rank for that keyword. My company will benefit from ranking for this keyword. But these keywords are very broad. It's going to take a lot of resources to be able to rank for that keyword. And it's only one keyword, or they only have a handful of keywords that they want to rank for instead of dominating all of the search engine results page for every possible angle around your topic, right? So they're putting all of these resources into this one broad keyword, which at the end of the day isn't specific enough to qualify your reader or to attract somebody with a very specific need, which is somebody who's more ready to buy. So not only is it harder, but it doesn't work as well. Another reason why SEO isn't working for a lot of people is because of a random or creative topic ideation. So they wait until they have an idea for a topic to write about instead of having a system for coming up with a bunch of different topics. And just you put your topics through the system and more topics come out. So we're going to cover how to do that today as well. Another issue why SEO isn't working is because companies have the search intent wrong. They focus so much on search volume and so much on click-through rate or cost per click or the value that they perceive this keyword has, that they haven't even focused on what the searcher is really looking for. And if you don't meet the search intent, if you don't understand the search intent, you may find either that you're not going to rank because Google won't rank content that doesn't meet the right search intent. And second, even if you do, you might not be benefiting your business in any way because the search intent might not have anything to do with your tool or whatever it is that you're selling. Another thing I've seen is there's no conversion rate optimization. So they're pushing content and not adding any call to action or any other next step for the readers to take. SEO is supposed to be one of the first steps, especially the kind that we're going to be discussing today, which is going to be non-branded SEO. It's one of the first steps for people to discover your brand and to be introduced to you and get to know you. And if you're not giving them any next steps other than book 30 minutes with a sales rep or sign up for our newsletter, there has to be something in between. And some people don't even have either of those steps on their blog content. So adding that kind of next step and conversion rate optimizing and having that in mind in all of your content is also going to help drive the needle. Another reason that people are failing to SEO is failing to have an effect is topical relevance. Topical relevance, along with search intent, is the most important thing that you can do in SEO. So that's why you can't only focus on ranking for your money keywords or these broad keywords, because it's not going to work if you don't regularly write well-optimized content around this topic. So for Google, it's important that your page at a site level, so the entire website, is relevant to this topic. And that means you have to publish regularly and a lot of pieces about this topic. And publishing velocity. So we'll talk about this more in detail a little bit later, but how frequently you're publishing makes a big impact. As long as you stay consistent, consistency is more important. But if you can publish more frequently than your competitors, that's going to move the needle faster. It's just math, and I will explain that. And then systems. So all of this that I just mentioned above won't work if you don't have a repeatable framework and system that you can put it through, because otherwise you're always going to get stuck trying to figure out things. This is something where you need to create content at scale for this to work. And in order to do that, there has to be a system and a framework that you and your team can go through. So let's talk about some of those case studies. Is everybody good on the same page? Are we all right? Great. So let's dive into Canva. Everybody knows Canva. They reached $15 billion valuation, and they have most of their traffic coming from organic. So Canva has 55 million active users, 3 million paid users. Most of their traffic comes from organic. So don't get me wrong, they do have paid, but they have such a robust and amazing SEO structure machine going that it's definitely a case study that we want to look into, right? Because still the majority of their users are coming from organic. So I did an analysis on Canva and what their page structure looks like. All of this data that I'm presenting here is coming from Ahrefs. So they have 13,680 pages. That's a lot of publishing. Not all of them are blog posts. So Canva is going to be the one in this presentation that's not blog driven per se, but we're still going to look at what they're doing at the page level. So the traffic value of these 13,680 pages is $19 million. What does that mean? It means that Ahrefs took all of the keywords that they are ranking for and the traffic that they're getting for them and combined that with the cost per click, which means if they were paying Google, as in running these keywords on Google Ads, they would have to pay $19 million a month to get the same traffic that they're getting organically for free. So it's not for free as in they don't have to invest in all of the content. They have a team of 75 people working on this or more, but they don't have to pay $19 million a month on top of the other ad spend that they're spending on top of everything else. That traffic is free. And it keeps compounding. It keeps growing and growing. It's magical, really. Well, it's not magical. It's systematic. And that's what I'll be walking more through today. So taking a look at the keywords that they're using, you would think to get this kind of search volume, to get this volume of users that would be worth $19 million, you would think that all the keywords that they're trying to rank for are super high volume, right? No. 93% of their keywords are under 200 search volume per month. That means less than 200 people per month are searching for these keywords. 83% of those keywords are 3 or more words. And they have nearly 5 million internal links. So internal links is one of the most important signals. It's just as important as external links. Everybody's really obsessed with external links. And of course, Canva does have a very thorough outreach and backlinking strategy, but they also have a very systematic internal linking strategy. So what is internal linking? In case you're not familiar with that, it's linking from one page in your website to another page in your website. And that's how this whole strategy of using these low volume keyword stacking works, is because you are using internal linking to direct them to the big money keywords. Internal linking helps you in website navigation. It defines the architecture and the hierarchy of a website, and it distributes the page authority and ranking power throughout the website. So an internal linking strategy with a lot of content looks a bit like an org chart, if you can imagine it. And we'll take a look at what that looks like right now. So if you look at Canva's page level, at the canva.com, they identify the search intent for 2 different kinds of search intent, which is I want to create something, or I want to have a template to create something, right? So for every page, they have their template pages, and you see the URL, canva.com. For example, if you wanted to create a card, like a birthday card, it's going to be canva.com/cards/templates. And then if you go into the actual templates, you'll see there are a bunch of different kinds of templates. So you'll go down to the subcategory pages, canva.com/cards/templates, congratulations/birthday, whatever. And in Create, if you go into Create, all of them are going to be linking back to a template page. So if you look at these templates, there's so many different kinds for cards, right? It's birthday, thank you, invitation, greeting, save the date, photo. And this was not even all of them. There was so many of them. And it just goes on like that. And if you analyze all of the different kinds of template pages that they have, you have over 55 parent pages. So that would be cards, for example, or invitations or calendars. And under each of those, they have up to 78 child pages, and all of them are linking back to the main ones, which is cards. So this is like a forever feeding loop of links and link juice. But if you were to look at the keywords that they're actually ranking for with these child pages, you'll see things like this. Get well soon template card, volume 10, difficulty 10. So if you were to actually do some keyword research and find these kind of keywords, a lot of people would be like, well, I'm not going to invest in creating a page for 10 monthly search volume. I want the one that's 5,000. But they're actually targeting these kind of keywords over and over and over and over again. And then if you look at it, it adds up to attract to this 3 million organic keywords that they're ranking for, and it stacks up. So, and then because they're doing this, they end up being able to rank for really high volume keywords. It's not because they only focused on the high volume keywords, they focused on the low volume keywords and stacked it up from there. So now we're going to look at another case study, which is HubSpot. I'm sure that you all know HubSpot. They are the founders of inbound marketing, so obviously they know how to do this well. They surpassed 100,000 customers, 1 billion in annual recurring revenue. And I am looking. Oh, sorry, I just saw that it says, please fix the echo. Does everybody hear an echo? Or am I okay? No echo. Okay. All right. Apologies for that. Okay, so let's take a look at HubSpot. If you analyze HubSpot, they have nearly 12,000 blog pages. They have a lot more pages than that, but if we're looking just at their blog, they have almost 12,000. They're publishing, and they've been doing this for a while. They're publishing like 2 blog posts a day. Their traffic value is 10 million a month. They have, according to SimilarWeb, so SimilarWeb is not always 100% accurate, but it's pretty good. They have 38.9 million monthly visits. 38% of it comes from organic. And the majority of their users are coming from organic. Again, if we break down the keywords that they have, and they do rank for huge volume keywords. So they rank for keywords like webinar and LinkedIn headline, and these are keywords with huge search volume. But that's not the backbone that it was built on. So if you look at the actual keywords that they have, 93% of them, again, are under 200 in search volume. 85% of them are 3+ words. And what's interesting, if you notice that 93% was also the same number as Canva. So I don't know, maybe that's something to aim for. A lot of the keywords that they're stacking are small volume keywords. 85% of them are 3+ words. So 30% of the keywords that they rank for of their pages are in the top 3 positions. So on page 1, top 3. 46% of them are in positions 4 to 11. So that means that 76% of their blog posts are on the first page. Now, if they were only trying to target high volume keywords, this would be a lot harder for them. But since they're targeting just a bunch of really low volume keywords, super specific long tail keywords, they are able to dominate the search engine results page. That's how you do it. Of course, if you wanted to, they've been doing this for a long time. So if you want to beat HubSpot at their own game, in 5 years, you'd have to publish like 200 articles a month. So it's high volume and high publishing velocity. Again, they have 7 million internal links. So they have a very thorough and robust internal linking system. And you can't do this randomly. You have to have a system to be able to do this at scale. So if we look at their blog structure, it's not as advanced or as intricate, organized as Canva was. And that's okay. They're not exactly this, they don't have exactly the same approach as Canva. But if you look, they have these 5 categories: sales, 2,000 pages; marketing, 5,000 pages; service, 775 pages; website, and agency. And all of these are these topic clusters that they're building. So let's take a look at some examples. So top of the funnel example is all of the content they're creating around Facebook. So they don't have a whole URL section category for Facebook. That's all under marketing. But they can build a lot of traffic towards everything, every kind of question that people might have around Facebook. So if you look here, you can see people are searching how to download Facebook videos, Facebook cover photo size, Facebook live guide, how to delete Facebook. So this is super top of the funnel. It doesn't really have anything to do with the kind of customers that they're trying to get, or it could, but they're not really qualifying them. What they're trying to do here is just dominate the search engine results page and get a lot of traffic at the top of the funnel, because they always have content upgrades. I don't know if you guys go on HubSpot a lot. It seems like in the chat, a lot of people are fans of HubSpot, but all of their content has content upgrades. You go on one of their website, they're putting you into their email list, and that's helping them generate the majority of their business. But they do have also bottom of the funnel content. A lot of this content that you see here is ranking for a bunch of keywords. So if I'm creating this piece of content, how to download Facebook videos, I've grouped a lot of different keywords in there. And you can see here, they have grouped over 8,000 keywords in one post. So again, they're trying to stack a bunch of keywords, either within a post or within a whole content strategy. And they do also take a look at bottom of the funnel. So if we want to look at bottom of the funnel examples, they do have the CRM, right? So if you want to see what kind of content they're creating for CRM, they're not going to try to rank for just the keyword CRM. That would be crazy. Not only would it be crazy, it would take a lot of resources, they've understood, to try to rank for a keyword that is one word, that is totally vague, that doesn't qualify. I mean, anybody could be looking for the word CRM. It could be somebody trying to understand what a CRM is, right? So instead of just trying to rank for that keyword, they're ranking for a bunch of long tail keywords that is very specific of what somebody could be looking for. So as an example, CRM for real estate, CRM for Outlook, that's for CRM for Gmail, CRM for sales reps. They have different one for CRM for sales, CRM for sales reps, and they're creating different pieces of content for each of these. And look, the volume 30, 20, 20, 10. Do you think that, did you imagine that a huge company like HubSpot would be trying to rank for keywords that has 10 monthly search volume? Well, they are, and that's because they're smart, because they know that they can stack all of them and they can find all of these very, very specific needs, while also all of this is helping them rank for the high volume keywords, and it's helping them rank for the word CRM. As vague and broad as it is, they will end up ranking for it by using all these low volume keywords. So now we're going to look at the third case study. Databox is a little bit smaller than HubSpot and Canva. They have 3.7 million in revenue, and they are a B2B business intelligence platform. So we're going to take a look. They're very content driven, and we're going to take a look at what Databox is doing today. If we look at the similar web data, we'll see that half of their traffic comes from search. If you look at, I signed up to their director of marketing. He has a Patreon email list, and he talks a lot about what they're doing in terms of content and SEO there. And according to him, from this email he sent out in October, they finished October with 71% of their website traffic came from organic search. 4,000 product signups, 4% month over month growth, a 2.7% visit to sign up rate. So these are pretty good numbers, right? So let's take a look at some more data about Databox. Databox has 2,000 paying customers, 580,000 monthly visitors. And most of their customers, or a lot of their customers, as we saw, are coming from organic. They are publishing at least 57 articles a month. So I know that we did say you don't have to spend that much money on ads, but you do need a team to be able to implement those kind of things, this kind of approach. And we will be talking about how to build these systems to get that team to be efficient. Again, 93% of their keywords are under 200 search volume. 73% of their keywords are more than 3 words. So they're not just trying to rank for data, for example, or data tool. And their traffic value is 100,000 a month. They have 180,000 internal links. So all of the same, we see that even though all these products are really different and the audience is different, all of these companies have an overlap in their SEO strategies. They're targeting low volume keywords, they're publishing very frequently, and they're all internal linking very systematically. So let's look at some examples of the kind of keywords that Databox is targeting. They're looking at keyword tracking tools, keyword difficulty, how to do keyword research, keyword cannibalization, how to use keyword planner, how to track your keyword rankings in Databox. So not all of these are going to be money keywords, right? Which one is going to be the most money keyword? Probably keyword tracking tools. That's a non-branded keyword that people will help them find Databox with and possibly become a customer, because somebody who's looking for a tool most likely is ready to buy one or trying to find one to buy. Yet they're not only trying to rank for that, they're also trying to rank for a lot of other different topics that are related to keywords so that they can boost the traffic and boost the page authority of the piece about keyword tracking tools. This is how they rank number 1. This is how you can also do it. And that's just as important as backlinking, right? Your internal linking is very, very important. So how do they do it? So for example, this keyword tracking tools is the money one. They're ranking for a bunch of keywords here. It has a lot of, it's an expensive post. It's a very valuable post. So if you go to another page that they published, for example, this page was how to create a keyword ranking report. And right around the top of the page, it says 23 best keyword tracking tools. They're linking back to the keyword tracking tools piece. In another example, how to do keyword research, again, they're linking to this best keyword tracking tools piece. So in all of the subtopics that they're building, this is also called building a topic cluster, and all of them, they're linking back to this keyword tracking tools piece. So if we want to look at another example, bottom of the funnel example, for instance, let's look at dashboards. So they are a business intelligence tool. People build dashboards with them. So obviously they would want to rank for keywords related to dashboards, right? So they have all of these different kinds of dashboard keywords: social media metrics dashboard, Braintree dashboard, lead generation dashboard, communication dashboard. They're not just trying to rank for business dashboards or B2B dashboards. They get super specific. And if you can see it here again, a lot of these keyword search volumes, which is the column on the left, they're quite low, 20, 40, 70. Most people would brush off this keyword and not try to rank for it because it's too low. Try to rank for it. The more specific, so already, not to mention that a lot of the keyword tracking tools, even within Google's own tools, is not totally accurate. You'll look at this keyword search volume here on Ahrefs. It's going to be completely different than what you find on ClearScope or what you find on Google Keyword Planner. The search volume isn't that important. It's the specificity that's important. The fact that somebody's looking for something super specific, they're way more likely to find this article and to be looking for this article than they are to be looking for the broader keyword, right? And you still will end up ranking for the broader keyword by doing this. Another example is KPIs. So if they're doing dashboards, a lot of people who use these business intelligence dashboards are tracking KPIs. So you do want to rank for KPIs as well. But do you want to rank for just the keyword KPIs? No. You want to get specific. Again, KPIs for sales, KPI for sales reps, 2 different search intents here. KPIs for e-commerce, KPI for sales and marketing. Again, if you look at this search volume, it's small. It's a volume that most people would brush off. But Databox was smart and decided to put an angle to everything that they're doing. And that's how they're performing so well. Is everybody good on the same page, not feeling too overwhelmed with all this information? Give me a thumbs up in the chat. Cool. So now let's reflect a little bit on these case studies that we looked at. What have we learned from them? Well, one of the first things that we learned is one keyword does not equal one page. What I mean by that is one page can rank for a bunch of different keywords, as long as you aren't cannibalizing the search intent. So the focus needs to be more on the search intent rather than a keyword. You're not going to create one page for every keyword, but you are going to create one page for every search intent. So that's what they've been able to do here, is finding one page that can rank for a bunch of different low volume keywords. And then they stack them, a bunch of publication and a bunch of keywords. Another thing to note is that these guys did not rely on creative topic ideation. What do I mean by that? They didn't, if your content team works like a conference room in Mad Men, for example, I don't know if any of you guys watch Mad Men, but they're a magazine. They're sitting around the table, smoking their cigars, trying to come up with a topic for the next month's magazine, right? Everybody's chasing the next sexy, creative idea, but you have no baseline for people to start from. So that means the great work, the great content that you're creating is going to be chance. It's going to be serendipitous rather than something that's a repeatable process. It's going to slow you down if it's not a repeatable process. It's not an easy way for your team to identify the next great idea if you're just relying on creativity. And that's the fastest way to fail and not be able to scale here. So either you'll run out of ideas or you'll try to take on something new. So what is important here is to have a systematic, repeatable framework for coming up with topics. Another thing that we learned from these case studies is that the more you publish about a topic, the easier it is going to be to rank for it. And that's, again, going back to one of our earlier slides, is you're building topical relevance. Why do you think that HubSpot is publishing about so many random Facebook topics that aren't directly related to their products so that they can rank about more marketing things, right? Why do you think that Databox is writing about every KPI in existence is so that they can rank easier for KPI dashboards? So they're building topical relevance around that. Another thing that all of these three companies are doing is systematic internal linking, to not only link to old posts when you're publishing new ones, but to have a system to go back and add links to the new posts back into the old posts, to make sure that each category, each cluster is all interlinking, and it's creating an easy to navigate system of content. Another thing that I think we've all noticed by now is that there's a lot of low volume keywords. To not be afraid of these low volume keywords. There's like, I don't know, almost 5 billion internet users right now. And you're telling me that some of these words have zero search volume. People search for weird stuff. And especially if you're trying to target C-levels or entrepreneurs, those people don't search for the same things as everybody else. There is going to be, it's just a nature of B2B to have lower search volume, right? And now you might be scratching your head wondering, how in the world am I going to publish 60 articles a month or more than that? Or even 10. Even that is a lot for some teams. Well, it's impossible to do if you don't have scalable systems. You need the systems. That's the most important thing. A scalable, repeatable system. And publishing velocity is key. So publishing velocity is the speed, right? So if you want to look at what I mean here, why is publishing velocity so important? Let's say you are targeting these low volume keywords and you're going to be publishing one article per week. So let's say I want to target these keywords that has 50 monthly search volume. So of course, this table that I built here is assuming that you're ranking number one, that you're only going to rank for that one keyword, and that you are receiving all of the sessions of the search volume, that everybody's clicking on it. But, so there's a lot of factors. This is just for an example. But let's say you do get all that traffic, and let's say you're only ranking for that one keyword instead of a bunch of other keywords. So if you want to publish one article per week, at the end of 6 months, you will have gained 12,000. You will have 12,000 visits per month. And the ones that from you published for month one is still working for you, month 6. That's how SEO works. So let's say you upped that volume a little bit, right? To 8 articles a month. Well, suddenly it's getting really high. And oh, what's this here? Why did it go from 50 to 100? Well, the reason that it went from 50 to 100 is because now in the first 3 months, you published so much about a certain topic that suddenly it's a lot easier to rank for more difficult keywords. Suddenly you can rank for keywords with higher search volume. So you can start adding those on. And by the end of month 6, you have 3,600 monthly traffic instead of the 1,200. And that's not a double, even though you've only doubled the search articles per month. That's triple. Now let's look at if we doubled that number, 8 articles per month, and published 16 articles a month. Well, sorry for the differing font here, but suddenly it's really changed, because by month 3, you've published so much that you can really start tackling either new topics. You really are able to start scaling it, and you'll start, all of the other old posts are going to start gathering these higher volume keywords. You're going to move faster and faster up for more difficult keywords because you're publishing so frequently, because you're publishing well optimized, high quality, well researched expert content about the same topic over and over and over again. And suddenly you have nearly 19,000 traffic per month in the same amount of time. So if you look at the table, it looks like this. Look at how exponential that moves up. Publishing velocity is important. Now, some of you might be saying, well, how can I do that? I'm going to lose the quality of the content. So quality is the most important. Do not do this at the detriment of your quality. Quality is always going to be, if you have to create bad content in order to do this, it's not going to work. However, that's not to say that it needs to be a dichotomy. You can publish quality and quantity at the same time. If you look at athletes, for example, you'll see that if I say I'm going to go run a marathon and I say, what's the best advice you can give me? Well, you're going to say, well, make sure to keep in good form and not injure yourself. But there are athletes that are able to run super fast and maintain perfect form, even better form than the amateur runner who is running just for fun. So if you look at it this way, it's what is the difference between me and my competitor is that they're able to do this at scale and maintain high quality and maintain perfect form. And the way that you're able to do that is through systems and scaling. So now I'm going to talk to you about some of these systems that we can use. What can we do to create all of these topics at scale? What can we do to build a team and to be able to create content at this velocity while maintaining quality? How do we find all of these low volume keywords? Am I just guessing? How do I find these things? So one first trick, finding your high intent keyword variations. I actually have here a sheet that I can share with you guys. I will paste the link in the chat. Give me 1 second. Copy the link. So here's a quick little cheat sheet. I put it in the chat about finding these long tail keywords. Here's 3 tips for finding them. And one of them you'll see is going to be this. So if you want to rank for email marketing, you're not going to try to just create one piece to rank for email marketing. It's going to be email marketing for what are all the different options that you can find. And you're going to be creating content around all of this, and it's going to be scaling. And then suddenly you'll have published 40 articles about email marketing for something else. And then it's going to be super easy to rank for the keyword email marketing because you've published so much around it. You are a relevant authority now in this space. what's next? So another way to do it, not only because obviously you're not only going to write about X topic for, right? That's going to be a way to find a lot of different variations, but there's got to be other ways to systematically squeeze more topics out of what you're looking for once you run out of those. So another way that you can do is, let's say you're trying to rank for email marketing, is by putting it through these different filters, right? So you have your kind of triangle of filters that you can put your main topic through. So let's say you have your primary keyword that's email marketing. Then you're going to squeeze it through something else. What about a qualifier? B2C email marketing. There's another topic. Or you could take the primary keyword and put it through an industry. Email marketing for e-commerce, email marketing for fashion. Another way you can do is look at the subject matter within an industry. For example, how to segment your email list in MailChimp. That's very specific. So you can keep creating these kind of content, squeezing them through all these different angles, through all these different search intents. Another thing you can do is put it through this triangle. If you're doing email marketing again, well, what mindset are people in? They might be searching for things in a different way. So you put them email marketing, put it through inspiration. Well, 21 examples of email marketing campaigns that resulted in high reply rates. Examples is the inspiration part. Or education. People are trying to learn how to do things. How to set up a trigger-based email campaign. Or execution. That's when I want to do something now. These people have been inspired. They've been educated. Now they want to do the thing. Well, 5 tools for automated email marketing. So you see how suddenly it becomes clear that you don't need to be creative to come up with the topics. In fact, now instead of thinking, man, what do I write about? I just don't know what to write about. Now you're going to have a list so long that you're going to be like, wow, how am I going to write all this content? Because if you just keep putting it through these different filters, you're going to see that there's a lot of content to create about one topic. And this is kind of also similar if you look at other kinds of search intent. You have informational, transactional, commercial. There's so many different filters that you can put it through. So now the way that you're going to do this all is, well, you need an SEO content team in order to be able to do this at scale. There's a lot of different people that are involved in this. So you have your director, head of marketing, who's going to be looking at the whole content strategy, the whole SEO strategy and strategic messaging, and what are you actually going to be saying to people. Then you're going to have the project manager. This person's going to be uploading the posts, going to be managing the freelancers, making sure everything is going out on time and making sure that there are no loose ends, right? Then you have the strategists, the SEO manager. That's the person who's coming up with all the topics. That's the person who is maybe writing the outlines or coming up with the keyword research. Then you have an editor. That's the person who reads through and makes sure that the style is good, that it flows, that it matches with your content guidelines, your style guidelines, whatever. Then you need writers. You need a lot of writers. This is a hard thing to find. And you need also a process for hiring these people. You need graphic designers. Well, you don't maybe need them, but a really thorough, robust SEO strategy is going to need content. It's going to need graphic designers, because sometimes you just need to build infographics. And sometimes if you really want to dominate the search engines, then you're going to have some graphics for it. You need an outreach specialist, somebody who's going to make sure that people are building links back to all this content that you're producing, right? All of these roles, if you're creating content like this at scale, it's not one person who can do it. All of these people are going to be working full time creating this kind of machine. Of course, you can start small and scale from there. And if you are starting small, the first hire, I would say, to start all of this is going to be the SEO strategist, because that's the person who's going to move the direction forward. And of course, an SOP champion. So SOP is a standard operating procedure. And in order to do all of this, to flow from one step to the next, you need somebody who's making sure that everybody's on the same page with the processes, that you have processes in place for everything, and that this can be repeated over and over again, and that you have a framework for it. So what are all the processes that you need? A lot in order to do this. You need systems that are repeatable. You need a framework. You need a system for hiring and onboarding writers, to checking their quality, to making sure that they can fit into your system. You need preferably one set price that they can fit into so that you can calculate how much it's going to cost you easily at scale. You need a system for topic research. You need to be able to churn out topics at a high volume without having to think too creatively. It needs to have a system for coming up with these topics. You need a system for keyword research. It doesn't matter what tool you use. It doesn't matter how you do it, really, as long as you have a system for coming up with it that is repeatable and scalable, and that perhaps you can put a different person on it if you want to scale the team even bigger. You need a system for managing the content calendar, so a way that everybody can understand what step it's in. You need a system for creating a brief. I have another present for you guys. I have a brief template. Did everybody get the last handout that I just sent? Did that work for everyone? Yes. I got another one for you, which is a blog post brief template. This is the one that we use with my team. That hopefully is helpful for you, and you'll see how thorough it is. The brief is the most important, one of the most important things, because it's the only way that everybody can get on board and make sure that the post is delivering exactly what they expect. So there's the brief for you guys, a template that we use. And you'll see there's checklists for everyone. You have Q&A, you have quality assurance, and this brief where the strategist writes the outline is it, oh, Black Wednesday, yes. This is what is going to be able to allow you to do this at scale. Then you need a system for writing, for editing, for scheduling, for reporting. I mean, there's so much things that are involved in being able to do this at scale that if you're doing it without the systems, it's going to get confusing. People are not going to know who's responsible for what, at what step each thing is in. And then you, of course, need checks and balances for quality assurance. How do you know that everything that's going out is up to standard? Who's managing all these invoices that you're paying all these freelancers for? These are all of the things that you need to consider when you're building out these systems. So how do you know if our process is scalable? One question you can ask yourself is our process scalable? Signs that it's not scalable is that it's all in your mind, that if you went on vacation for 2 weeks, nobody would know where anything is at or what's going on because you'd have to tell people. That's not scalable. If you have a system, everybody can see easily where everything is at and what the next step needs to be. For example, how does the project manager know when something is good to publish without having to ask them? There needs to be somewhere showing this is good to publish and everybody knows that that's what it means. How does the strategist and editor work together? This was something that we had a hard time doing in our agency. Now we finally have a system for it. How do they work together? Well, it's, how do you know when it passes off from one to the other? Who's responsible for what? Who's responsible for the internal linking? For example, if you publish a new post, who's going to go and add the link to the new post into the old post? Is it your strategist? Is it your project manager? That needs to be clear. Who finds the writers? How do you vet them? How do we account for things like compliance? For example, if your company has a legal issue, if you're in fintech or finances or real estate, for example, you may have some compliance issues. At what point in the stage does that go in? And how do we scale that? How do we make the perfect brief? I think that, our brief is close. We're always tweaking it, but it's definitely important to make sure that you have a brief so that you can scale this content creation. Everybody knows what needs to go into it. I can show you a little bit. We have this, we use ClickUp at Flying Cat Marketing just to make sure that everything is smooth. We create a lot of SEO content at scale, and we're able to do it because we have these systems in place. So here you can see just everything is in its position. We have a lot of automations going. So once it moves to one thing, one person gets notified, the ownership changes. So it's always obvious. I can just look at this and in 5 seconds, I know which piece is in whose hands and what needs to happen next. There are no questions about it because it's all automated. The ultimate brief, that was my next slide, but I did already share it with you. The brief is so important. And it's helped us been able to vet writers and explain to writers and have content that looks like it's written by the same brand voice, really, and done at scale. So look at your content process, see whether it's scalable. We have a couple of openings as well. We're taking on 4 new clients this quarter. If you feel that your team does not have the resources to create content at scale, I think you can contact me. There's probably contact information somewhere. If not, let Ayush know. And that's that. So now it's time for Q&A. I hope it wasn't too overwhelming.
Thanks a lot, Maeva, for doing this. Like, this was surely really a great session for me, and thanks for all those giveaways that you have been sharing while you were discussing entire thing. So, thanks once again. So, guys, we are left with, to be very honest, 27 minutes to be very precise. So, I'll take the questions